this is really one of the most amazing sources or chunks that I've ever come up with, and I wish I had the time to go over all of it, but that would make a very long video. But it's very interesting because it has to do with the 613 commandments, and Noah shows up. The Noahides, they have this very interesting way of enumerating the commandments, and they figure out that there's 620 letters in the giving of the 10 commandments, which has the value of 620, which is keter, or crown. And then even the Noahide laws make an appearance, the 7 laws of Noah. And then if you're interested in like the zodiac and the planets and these like celestial spheres and their influence on the events on Earth, this is your spot, because they say that the 10 commandments correspond to planets and bodies in space. And they have an amazing way of explaining all of this. Now, unfortunately, you don't have time, so I'll pick it up here, but you can look this up on your own if you like. There's great excitement or awakening of spiritual forces connected with each of these 10 commandments and how they interact with the celestial spheres. If you will study the subject in depth, you will find that the wonders of God and the wisdom expressed by his creations becomes very manifest. There is another reason for the number of these commandments being 10. Man possesses 10 basic organs which constitute the essence of his body, without which he cannot function as a proper human being. We have mentioned repeatedly that the composition of man of 248 limbs and 365 sinews closely parallels the structure of the Torah, which consists of 248 positive and 365 negative commandments. Just as the Torah considers the 10 commandments as the irreducible minimum of man's obligations vis-a-vis his Creator, so the 10 organs which we mentioned as essential to man will be found to correspond to the messages addressed to man in the 10 commandments. The 10 organs in question are the heart, the ear, the mouth, the brain, the hands, the liver, the male organ, the legs, the eyes, and the kidneys. So the brain is, of course, counted among these 10. And then, according to Rabbi Havel, the heart corresponds to the first commandment, seeing as it is to be fulfilled by the heart. The ear corresponds to the second commandment, as the ear must not listen to a false prophet inviting obedience to another deity. The mouth corresponds to the third commandment, not to utter false truths. The brain corresponds to the fourth commandment, as appreciation of the meaning of the Sabbath requires a brain. The hands correspond to the fifth commandment, to honor parents by performing services for them with one's hands. The liver corresponds to the sixth commandment, seeing it is all blood, and murder deals with blood. So the prohibition against murder has to do with the liver, which is mostly, blood. The male organ corresponds to the seventh commandment, as one cannot engage in adultery without that organ. So do not commit adultery. The legs correspond to the eighth commandment, as in order to steal, one employs one's legs. The eyes correspond to the ninth commandment, as testimony is based on what one has seen, or what has been seen. And the kidneys correspond to the 10th commandment, seeing that they are the seat of Etza? I'm not sure what this is. Of the tree, it seems. They advise how to translate the wish into reality, how to acquire what one has coveted. So do not covet that which is your neighbor's. So very interesting how all of these commandments, they're saying, line up with parts of the human body, and the brain corresponds to the honoring or the keeping or the remembering of the Sabbath. Very interesting indeed.